something. The weather over here in New Jersey absolutely sucks dick. It is so fucking bipolar. We got the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere. The further we go down to the middle of the earth, we get warmer. The further we go up, we get colder because we're headed towards north and south, obviously. And then we got New Jersey that has fucking weather patterns of its own. It is ridiculous. It is cold. It is raining after we had an 80-degree day just a few days ago. It's fucking ridiculous. Regardless of that fact, it's Saturday! You know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, no. You smell that? Know what that is right there? That's excellence. Wait for it. Oh, wait for it. To mankind! And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, May 7th, 2022. Wish it could have been a better day, but nevertheless, we're going to kick off the month of May in a very big way, that's for sure. A little disappointing, very small crowd. Only Adam, Didi, and Peanuts so far? That's a little disappointing. Really, it's a little disappointing considering that we had such a great turnout last week where we absolutely tore Becky Lynch apart, completely ripped her, 2 new assholes and a new vagina, and we talked about why WWE brought back Mustafa Ali. We ranted on a couple more things, including WWE. Apparently, now Vince McMahon thinks a few superstars are being miscast. No shit. No shit. Regardless of that, we have a lot of material to dissect. And I greatly appreciate the people that are coming on in, the people that are here right now, the people that will come in. We have a lot to talk about, and we're not going to waste any more time. Before we do, and we get into the festivities, which includes a former Impact Wrestling star making a debut for AEW in the dark tapings. Then, of course, we got Roderick Strong. That's right, Roderick Strong. He requested his release from WWE multiple times, and they denied him. Kind of shitty on WWE's part. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about NXT. We're going to talk about their spring break-in show, and WrestleVote's reporting that we could very well see another Stand and Deliver show. We're going to talk about that, as well as Tessa Blanchard, and the blatant problem that Tessa Blanchard has. We're going to dissect that. But before we get into that, of course, if you guys haven't already done so, please make sure you follow me on social media. I got my old Twitter account back at HistoryMakerDJS. As you can see in the bio, I am fucking back and badder than ever. So if you like pro wrestling and you want to help me grow my Twitter account to reach 2,000 and beyond, please make sure you follow me on social media, both on Twitter and Instagram. I changed my Instagram handle too. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at HistoryMakerDJS, because all I do is make history. Both of those links are in the description, as well as the link to my Facebook. Please make sure you follow me on Facebook. And for collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is. All of those links, they are down in the description. I will actually be going to an independent pro wrestling event here in New Jersey. It is an ISPW event, Internet Superstars, or Independent Superstars, I should say, Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling. The last time I was there, I got to meet Sergeant Slaughter. I got to see Rikishi. I got to see Gene Snitsky. I'm going there because one of my good friends and one independent wrestler that I very much enjoy and I very much appreciate, I'm very grateful to this man because he gave me an opportunity to commentate for his show. Crowbar, he's going to be in action against former Ring of Honor World Television Champion Rhett Titus. He actually lost the Ring of Honor World Television Championship to Minoru Suzuki just so Suzuki can drop it to Samoa Joe. So that right there, I'm actually interested in because I actually want to see what Rhett Titus is actually capable of. So I'm going to be seeing that match tonight. And, of course, we got tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big show, as per usual, because tomorrow, not only Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, we will be going live at 2 p.m. tomorrow for the rundown for WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2022. And, of course, my guest, who is currently in the chat right now, Mr. Adam Carl. For the very first time ever, Adam Carl is going to be a guest on my channel. Very happy to have him on my channel. We actually collaborated not that long ago, and we were guest stars on Nick Fury's channel. So happy to have Adam Carl back on the channel. That's going to be tomorrow, of course, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Set your calendar dates. We're going to be dissecting everything that's going down at this piss-poor pay-per-view tomorrow on Peacock. It looks absolutely horrible. Outside of Rollins and Cody and Styles and Edge, this show looks completely fucking missable. I would not recommend it at all. It looks horrible. But regardless of that, me and Adam will be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Set your calendar dates there. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button. Hit that like button. Smash it, just like Roman Reigns smashes his opponents. And, of course, please make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I'm talking about Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using at this very moment. And tell everyone that DJ Storms is live on YouTube. Let's get some more people in here as we get further and further into the stream. And, of course, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, you hit the subscribe button and you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube because it is the only time that you are going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache. Roll call isn't even here, but we're going to light it up here on the DJ Storms channel. Give me one sec. Here we go. It's the magic comb, and we're going to light it up with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Because like Campbell's soup, I'm so good. Everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Without me, there is no IWC. Let's get that point across, people. Okay? Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. We are going to get straight into the news, the rumors, the reports. We're going to get into it all here. Let's start off with Fightful Select. Fightful Select. They reported that former Impact Wrestling superstar Jake Something was at the recent set of AEW Dark tapings down at Universal Studios, which I believe they took place last Sunday on May 1st. Now, I am not too familiar with Jake Something. I have not watched Jake Something very, very closely. I have not watched his career throughout Impact. I really haven't been all too ingrained in what Jake Something is all about. But considering if he's gonna get a spot on AEW television, I got no issue with that. I think that this could be very well be a breakout moment for Jake Something. If Tony Khan is giving him an opportunity, then clearly he must see something in him. Now, there's no word on if he signed or not. I don't know if he signed or not. If I was Tony Khan, you need some superstars for Ring of Honor. If Tony Khan wants to sign Jake Something for the Ring of Honor television show on TNT or TBS, whenever that may come to fruition, and then, of course, we got the streaming deal as well, that I have absolutely no issue with. And especially considering that, according to Dave Meltzer, these rights fees for AEW, they're going to be boosting. They're going to be tripled. So essentially, AEW is going to gain an extra easy $135 million, and they could pretty much spend the money on whoever the fuck they want. And that's a great thing for them. That's a really great thing for them. If that's the case, AEW is going to be in a great financial position. They're already in a great financial position, but it could be even better if that's the case. They'll definitely be able to afford Jake Something, and they can sign him and potentially put him on Ring of Honor. So we'll see what comes out of this. I thought that was a very, very interesting little tidbit of information. Jake Something has made his debut on AEW on the Dark tapings. We'll see what comes of it. Also, according to Fightful reported a lot of interesting reports today. One of them being Roderick Strong. He requested his release from WWE multiple times over the past few months. And according to Fightful Select, WWE has not given it to him due to the fact that it would ruin multiple storylines, quote unquote. So just like I called Becky Lynch out on her bullshit, this is also bullshit. Ruin multiple storylines, but you just released Malcolm Bivens. You released Malcolm Bivens, who was a part of a storyline with Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine. So if you didn't want to ruin any storylines, why did you release Malcolm Bivens? If you didn't want to, quote-unquote, ruin any storylines, why exactly did you release someone like a Dexter Lumis, who was involved in a storyline that's been featured heavily on NXT television with Indy Hartwell, Duke Hudson, and Persia Pirotta? Why'd you release Persia Pirotta if that was the case? See, this entire report is bullshit. You want to know why WWE has not released Roderick Strong? I'll tell you exactly why WWE hasn't released Roderick Strong. They haven't released Roderick Strong because they know that if Roderick Strong leaves, he's going to go straight to TK. TK's going to pick him up. And instead of a six-man tag team match with Cole, Fish, O'Reilly versus Omega and the Bucks, we're going to get an eight-man tag team match that could very well be a match of the year candidate with Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, and Strong taking on Omega, the Bucks, and Adam Hangman Page after Page inevitably loses the world championship. Adam Page is going to be thrown right into the Elite versus Undisputed Elite storyline, and we're going to get an eight-man tag team match for the fucking ages. That is why WWE won't release Roderick Strong. They don't see any value in Roderick Strong. They don't got plans for Roderick Strong. They're looking to keep Roderick Strong hostage specifically to keep him away from AEW. You saw what happened with Cole, saw what happened with Fish, saw what happened with O'Reilly. They knew exactly what was going on. So at the end of it all, what they did was strategic. What WWE did was strategic. They are so fucking petty and so fucking paranoid by AEW and the success that AEW has been having. AEW has been handing WWE their ass for the last 3 years. Then you're going to get Roderick Strong. You're going to get even more people. They're about to bring in Athena. Guarantee you Athena's going to be the Joker against Britt Baker. They're going to bring in Athena. They're going to bring in Nixon Newell. They're going to bring in all these individuals. What happens if they get Bray Wyatt? Every single week, AEW is getting better and better and better in multiple areas. And WWE, they continue to get worse and worse and worse. I don't know how, but they have gotten worse ever since AEW has been around. I don't know how it's possible. I actually prefer 2018, 2019 Raw over anything that we're getting right now in WWE. At least back then, they actually had a roster. WWE is petty. WWE is petty. WWE is envious. WWE is run by a bunch of children that can't put their emotions aside for the greater good of business. Maybe, just maybe, if you actually booked him like he's supposed to be booked, maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't want his release. Roderick Strong wanted his release because he knew the direction of the WWE product. He knew exactly what was happening. He knew that as time went on, Triple H's vision and Triple H's creation with NXT, it was being destroyed out of envious and pettiness by Vince because Vince was pissed off that Triple H was upstaging him all of those years. And now we're here at this point. Roderick Strong knew exactly that he was not valued in the WWE. That's why he asked for his release. WWE's own fault. And at this rate, Roderick Strong has pretty much hit his ceiling. I have a feeling they might release him. I don't think they'll release him now, but they're going to keep him for as long as they possibly can out of pure envy. Out of fear that he's going to go to AEW, which he will, and he will rejoin Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly, and they're going to put on an 8-man tag team match for the ages. And they could very well hold all the fucking gold. Roderick Strong, TNT champion, Adam Cole, world champion, Fish and O'Reilly tag team champions. You know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Pathetic. Pathetic on WWE's part. Stu Grayson. Stu Grayson was also in the news today. He was removed from AEW's roster page. Dave Meltzer reported that his contract expired, and both him and AEW were working on coming to a deal as AEW wanted to resign him. However, the parties did not come to an agreement. There is still interest from both sides, but as far as this week went, Stu Grayson actually confirmed on April 30th. He confirmed that on April 30th, his contract expired and they did not come to terms, and Stu Grayson has exited AEW. Now, obviously, I'm a little disappointed simply because of the fact that Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, they were a fantastic tag team. They were probably one of the most underrated tag teams in pro wrestling today. Everyone loved Stu Grayson and Evil Uno for what they could do in the ring. They put on some great fucking matches with the likes of the Bucks, Omega and Page, and the Good Brothers, and many, many others. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno are great. And they got off to a rocky start, but they evolved into something great. And I think a lot of people grew to appreciate the Dark Order. However, this is unfortunately what happens. Unfortunately, when there are talent on the roster that are just better in certain ways and are more over in certain ways than others, they get pushed down the ladder. The Dark Order's peak was with Brody Lee. Unfortunately, Brody Lee passed away. God rest his soul. And it's an unfortunate set of circumstances because Brody Lee was going to be the guy that was going to bring the Dark Order to prominence. The Dark Order right now, they're directionless because they don't have a leader. They were put in there with Adam Hangman Page, and hopefully that was going to rub off on them. Unfortunately, it didn't rub off on them in the way that everyone wanted it to. At the end of the day, Dark Order needs a solid leader. They need a patriarch figure in order to rise to prominence. They're just a group of guys that people love. They don't have a direction. The only man outside of Brody that was going to bring the Dark Order to prominence, he isn't even there, and we don't know if he's ever going to show up in AEW. The only man that could do that and bring the Dark Order to prominence, just like Brody Lee was going to, is Wyndham Rotunda. And he's asking for a very high price to sign him to a contract. That's for a very high price. So it doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Dark Order is still a large faction with plenty of individuals that are going to have a lot of material to do once the Trios titles come around. Outside of the Trios titles, there's really nothing for the Dark Order to do. We'll see what happens when the Trios titles come around, but the door is still open. The door is still open for Stu Grayson to come back. After Jericho inevitably retires, Bryan and Punk, they're not going to stick around forever. You know for a fact after these current deals are up, Bryan and Punk are looking to hang it up themselves. Those three top names, they're going to be taken down a notch. And Sting's not going to wrestle forever as well. After this current deal with Sting is up, Sting could very well drop off, and he could step away from in-ring competition forever. There's a lot of people right now that could very well retire in the next couple of years, and AEW is going to start pushing the young talent up the ladder. Stu Grayson could come back then. Obviously, I'm disappointed, but unfortunately, this is what happens. They kept him for the full length of his contract. Unfortunately, there were people that were just more over and better than Stu Grayson was. It's not the end of the world, but Stu Grayson, he will be just fine. The rub that he got from AEW is going to pay off whenever he returns to the independent scene, whenever he decides to wrestle on the indie scene. Okay? Plain and simple. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Stu Grayson's going to be fine. AEW is going to be fine. No, this is not equivalent to WWE releasing talent, okay? So cut the bullshit right then and there. But I wish Stu Grayson the best. WrestleVotes. I got an update from WrestleVotes. They provided an update on WWE's plan for another NXT Stand and Deliver show. And WrestleVotes tweeted out on Wednesday morning, and I quote, WWE has discussed adding another Stand and Deliver event for one of the 3 big stadium shows happening this summer. I've heard the preference is UK for Clash at the Castle, but Nashville/SummerSlam seems more likely. All TBD still. End quote. Listen, the first TakeOver Stand and Deliver of the 2.0 era, listen, it was a good wrestling show. We had a lot of great matches on that show. Ciampa and Tony D'Angelo. The ladder match was great. Braun Breaker and Dolph Ziggler had a pretty decent main event. The women's triple threat match fatal 4-way match rather, was very good. It was probably the best women's match of the 2.0 era, that women's fatal 4-way. Gunther and LA Knight, they had a great match, a nice hard-hitting match. Every match got the ample amount of time. It was probably the best NXT 2.0 show that they ever produced. Absolutely the best NXT 2.0 show that they ever produced. But the problem is that WWE did not make anything on that show feel important. WWE did not put the effort into that show and made everything else that happened after the show was over feel important. NXT as a whole is a dead brand. NXT as a whole is a promotion that nobody gives a shit about. The NXT product right now is in the fucking toilet. No one gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit because of the lack of vision for NXT, or lack thereof a good vision, so to speak. Triple H's vision was the right way. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's vision, it's a cheap take on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. It's no different. It sucks. That's why the ratings are so low. People want to make a big stink about all the AEW ratings are going down, blah, 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 all this bullshit. Meanwhile, NXT, they had a change of scenery, a change of a vision, a change of everything. They were moved to Tuesdays. They're on their standalone night, yet no one seems to make a big deal about NXT's ratings. Oh, they're the developmental brand. What about the ratings for SmackDown and Raw and how they've continuously gone down? Raw and SmackDown has seen 2 of the lowest ratings ever. SmackDown got below 2 million. SmackDown got below 2 million 2 weeks in a row. Tape show or not, below 2 million. What about Raw? They've gone down every single week since WrestleMania. They started out at 2 million the night after WrestleMania. Then they went down to 1.8 and then 1.6 and now 1.5. Yet no one seems to make a big deal about that. The WWE product sucks. NXT is no different. NXT is no different. So at the end of the day, having another Stand and Deliver show, it's not going to make a difference unless WWE actually follows up correctly. And seeing that they did not follow up correctly on the first one, and the NXT product has gotten worse week after week, especially with the fact that they had a big special show and it failed to live up to expectations. It was a solid show, but at the end of the day, NXT 2.0, it's not going to mean anything. No one gives a shit about it, especially considering that 75% of the people shouldn't even be on television. I can only name you about 10 fucking people. 10 people that actually should be on NXT television right now, that are actually ready for television. The product is terrible. It's a terrible, cheap vision by Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard that has done everything in its power to shit all over Triple H's division when we all know that Triple H's way was the right way. So at this rate, look, we could get a solid show, but I'm not really gonna jump for joy over it. Could be a decent show, but at the end of the fucking day, if they don't follow up with it, it's not gonna mean anything. And at this rate, no one's gonna give a shit about NXT regardless. The brand is dead. Same thing with NXT UK. I watched NXT UK. They're starting to bring NXT 2.0 stars over to NXT UK. They're starting to bring NXT 2.0 stars over to NXT UK. And I'm telling you, the NXT UK brand, I may not even cover that anymore. NXT and NXT UK, I'm done. I'm only going to cover the big shows. And even then, I'm still not sure if I want to cover those big shows. Who gives a shit about another Stand and Deliver show? It's not like it's going to do anything. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. But we'll see what happens there. Fightful. Fightful again. Fightful coming in clutch with all of these top-tier news stories. Fightful Select has confirmed Candice LeRae's WWE contract has indeed expired. She is now a free agent. This is a great thing because when Candice LeRae gets into the groove of being a mom and she's comfortable with her kid and she's comfortable with the life that she has established with her kid, you know for a fact that she is going to go straight to AEW and Tony Khan. Tony Khan's going to make her a nice lucrative offer. You take a look at that women's division, I'm telling you right now, we're going to have Candice LeRae and Nixon Newell, Athena, possibly a Taya Valkyrie if they want to bring Taya Valkyrie in. This is a great thing because this is only going to make the AEW women's division stronger. And the stronger the AEW women's division is, the worse it is for WWE. And I love it. And I love it because Becky Lynch looks like exactly what I said she is. She is a fucking retard. I love it. It's a great thing. Candice LeRae is going to be a great hand anywhere she goes. And I do hope Tony Khan knows what the fuck he's doing, which I know he does, and he picks her up. Athena, Nixon Newell, Dakota Kai, and Candice LeRae. I am telling you right now, as soon as Tony Khan gets them, the women's division is going to be looked at as the best women's division in the world, minus Stardom. Even though I don't really give a shit about Stardom, but at the end of the day, Stardom and their women's division, it's an all-women's promotion. So at the end of the day, Stardom, by default, has the best one in the world. But as far as the AEW women's division goes, it's a nice, solid division now. As time goes on, and we inevitably see Candice LeRae, Nixon Newell, Athena, all go to AEW, it's going to be a great thing because the AEW women's division, it's getting better by the week. And adding those names, it's only going to increase how great the promotion really is when it comes to women's wrestling. I love this. Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano officially gone. Let's get Candice LeRae over to AEW when she's ready. We could very well see Johnny Gargano whenever we see Samoa Joe and his Owen Hart Cup match. The Joker could very well be Johnny Gargano. Imagine that. Moving on, Dave Meltzer. This is some AEW news right here. Dave Meltzer. He confirmed on Wrestling Observer Radio that the AEW Trios Championships have indeed been created. But Tony Khan is just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger. Tony Khan is mainly waiting for Kenny Omega to make his in-ring return. This way, he will be able to participate in the tournament. This is actually a great business move. And I understand why people are mad that the Trios Championships have not made their debut on AEW television yet. But this right here is a smart business move by Tony Khan because Tony Khan, he knows that if in order to make his championships prestigious, he needs to have the best in the division competing for the championships. You already got the Blackpool Combat Club. You already got the House of Black. You got the Factory. You got the Dark Order. You got the Gun Club. You got Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. You got the Undisputed Elite. Now you add Omega in there. Give me Omega and the Young Bucks. This is a great thing because now everyone is going to be wanting to vie for those championships. This is a great thing because as time goes on, those championships are going to become prestigious. And with Kenny Omega back, we could very well get some match of the year candidates with Kenny Omega and the Bucks in there against whoever they want to put in there. And the Blackpool Combat Club, I mean, take my money with the Blackpool Combat Club. The Blackpool Combat Club, they need to be their first champions. Blackpool Combat Club, man. Dave Meltzer, again, he came in with another report on the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and he confirmed that Dark Side of the Ring has not been renewed for a fourth season. The problems caused by the Plane Ride from Hell episode proved to be the downfall of the show. Dave Meltzer stated, and I quote, because they were relying on memories of people from 20 years ago, and there were multiple flights back from Europe where guys were drunk and out of control, but the famous one didn't have Vince or Linda McMahon on the flight, although people that were on the flight told them that they were. There were also complaints from Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, and Jim Ross about how they were depicted on that episode, claiming to have been taken out of context. Ross had questioned appearing on the show going forward publicly. End quote. Now, I actually agree with them on this episode. For some reason, that episode definitely felt off, especially how they were depicted. The Plane Ride from Hell, obviously we all know it sucked. Obviously we all know that a lot of shit that happened was wrong, but the problems with it, the producers didn't really understand that when it comes to shit like that, the cancel culture community is undoubtedly the worst thing in the world today. And if you play with fire, you're going to start up a raging inferno that's pretty much uncontrollable. And that's what it comes down to with cancel culture. Cancel culture is the worst thing in the world. And if you're going to deny that cancel culture exists, you are a blatant fucking retard. Seriously, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care if you're a family member or a friend. If you don't acknowledge the fact that cancel culture exists, you're a retard. Plain and simple. But Dark Side of the Ring, look, it was a great series. It was a great series, and it's kind of disappointing it's not being renewed, but at the same point in time, what more can be done? What more can be done? What other dark stories could they tell with Dark Side of the Ring? There's really not that much. There's really not that much that you can tell with it. It's kind of just there at this rate. They've pretty much told all the darkest stories that they could possibly tell with it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I actually agree with Rob Van Dam, Dreamer, and Ross. They were taken out of context in that episode. People went after them for no fucking reason. People attacked them for no reason. Look at what happened with Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer and his comments completely taken out of context. Tommy Dreamer said nothing wrong in that episode. I don't give a shit whether you like it or not. Tommy Dreamer was innocent. He didn't say anything wrong in that episode. People blew it out of proportion. People blew it out of proportion because everyone is a fucking pussy. Everyone is a fucking retard. Everyone needs everyone else to think exactly how they think. If something doesn't align with the deluded mentality of the lemmings, as Edge put it, the lemmings of the world, they get attacked. The people that disagree with the lemmings get attacked. And it sucks. But Tommy Dreamer said nothing wrong. Dark Side of the Ring's not being renewed. We'll see what the producers can come up with, but I doubt it's going to be anything near close to what Dark Side of the Ring was. Either way, it's not really all that sad to me, specifically because of the fact that, yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is great, but what I really want to see when it comes to pro wrestling, I want to see some great present-day stars take over and make sure that the present-day superstars are given the proper amount of time and showcase, which they have been with AEW at least. Not so much with WWE, because the WWE product sucks elephant dick. But that's what's going on with Dark Side of the Ring. Speaking of an individual that could have had her own Dark Side of the Ring episode, Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, Tessa Blanchard recently had a falling out with the Women of Wrestling promotion, and her status with the company is currently uncertain, although it is assumed that both parties may have very well cut ties. I was a guy that stood up for Tessa Blanchard because I did not believe anything that anyone was saying about her. I didn't believe it because in this day and age, people lie. People lie, and people lie a lot. This is the era in which people have lied the most out of any other era in human history. And the more times we see scenarios like this and where people just lie in order for their own personal gain, that shit right there just makes my disdain for humanity grow. When I say I don't respect anyone, that's not me in a character. Yes, I portrayed myself as a character. Everyone knows DJ Storms, the gimmick. But when it comes to me saying I have no respect for anyone, that's me being real with you. I don't respect anyone outside of the people that I know personally. I don't respect anyone outside of my family, my friends, my fans, and my acquaintances. Outside of that, I don't have any respect for anyone. Why? Because everyone is either an asshole or they're a retard. So I didn't believe anything about Tessa Blanchard initially because I know for a fact that people are jealous, people are envious, and people spew lies about her. People spew lies about everyone and everything. However, after this, it's clear as day what the problem is, and it's not anyone else. It's clear as day that now the problem has been revealed to be her. Now she doesn't have a leg to stand on. The people that vouched for her, there's really no reason for anyone to vouch for her anymore. And she did it to herself. It's clear as day, the problem is her. She has an attitude problem. And let me tell you something. I have an ego. Everyone has an ego. I said it once myself. Everyone is entitled to an ego. Everyone's entitled to an ego. My ego is as big as the Grand Canyon. But, however, my ego does not get in the way of my professional life. This is not my job. This is just a hobby. I do this because I love to do it. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for the views and the clicks and the likes. I do it just because I like to talk about pro wrestling. When I'm at work, I don't strut into work. If I'm going in for a day at the office doing accounting shit, I'm not going to go in there with my sunglasses, strut like Vince McMahon like I own the fucking place. No. I'm not going to be cursing up a storm over there. No. There's a job that I came there to do. When it comes to people and the environment of a job, there are rules to be followed. There are regulations that need to be abided by. And Tessa Blanchard, she thinks that she's bigger than everybody else. I'm sorry, but you can think that you're bigger than everyone else. You can think that you can think very highly of yourself, but at the end of the day, if that gets in the way of what's going on backstage and you're having all these falling outs, WWE didn't sign her, AEW didn't go after her, Impact fired her because she was holding the world title hostage in Mexico, and now she had a falling out with Women of Wrestling, and she could very well not be with that company anymore. It's clear as day that the problem is Tessa Blanchard. She is the new Ivelisse. Ivelisse has gone through company after company after company. Ivelisse has been passed around more than a horse passed around at the bar. When it comes to wrestling companies, of course. Same thing with Tessa Blanchard. She's gone to WWE, AEW. She's gone to fucking Women of Wrestling and Impact Wrestling. Every one of these companies has had her. And how old is she? Not even 27? 27 maybe? Maybe 26? She's this young. And people that work with her, they're cutting ties with her left and right. She has burned so many bridges to a point where her career is over. It's quite sad because of the level of talent that Tessa Blanchard possesses. Tessa Blanchard is the best women's wrestler in the world in terms of an in-ring standpoint. But as an individual, Tessa Blanchard is a fucking bitch. I call Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch entitled cunts. When in reality, Tessa Blanchard may be the biggest cunt of them all. Tessa Blanchard did it to herself. I don't feel sorry for her. And there's no reason for anyone to come to this woman's defense. At this rate, if you're coming to this woman's defense, you are pretty much defending a narcissistic piece of shit. And a narcissistic piece of shit that thinks that she should be at the top no matter what. Just because you think that you're great and you might be great, that doesn't give you the right to treat people like shit. That doesn't give anyone the right to act as if though they should be running the promotion. You can't be doing that shit, because at the end of the day, you are going to be the architect of your own defeat. And that's exactly what Tessa Blanchard is. Tessa Blanchard is the architect of her own defeat. She has nobody to blame but herself, and I don't feel sorry for her. At this rate, not even GCW is going to pick her up. Not even GCW is going to pick her up. I do not have any sympathy towards Tessa Blanchard. I don't think anybody should. Tessa Blanchard, she did it to herself. She fucked up. She dug her own grave. Now she has to lie in it. And even if she manages to turn her life around and she becomes a better human being at the end of the fucking day, it's going to take a long, long time for anyone to get past all of the bullshit that she has gone through, especially going to company after company and not being signed for an extended period of time. Tessa Blanchard fucked up. She is a detriment to her own career. At this rate, she might not even have a wrestling career anymore. She's done. Tessa Blanchard's pretty much done. I would be shocked if fucking ISPW, the show that I'm going to tonight, I'd be shocked if that indie promotion here in New Jersey picks her up. Moving on to the final report before we get into the weekly show reviews. According to Ringside News by way of WrestlingNews.co, WWE has the WWE Draft internally listed for their calendar year. September of 2022 is the rumored time frame, but no exact details were given. This is completely ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous. I don't understand why we are still talking about the WWE Draft. Fox even came out and they said that WWE, you need to keep the SmackDown superstars exclusively to SmackDown, which is why we haven't seen Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. If this was the case and Vince McMahon is going to bend over backwards and take the network's dick up his ass, then at the end of the day, he fucking deserves his product to be ruined. He deserves the low ratings. I don't understand how Fox could look at this and be okay with the show that they're getting on SmackDown. Look at how bad that show was for SmackDown last night. Look at how terrible Monday Night Raw is. You're telling me that all this shit rolled up into one, this shit honestly is the best route to go? You're telling me that this shit honestly is going to draw more people to watch? The only reason why WWE has the revenue that they have is because Vince McMahon has released literally over 200 people during the fucking pandemic, and he has signed all these contracts with Saudi Arabia, with Fox, with USA, in which it's like gym class. All he has to do is show up. It doesn't matter if the shows are good or bad. All he has to do is show up, and they will get paid. It's pathetic. So let me ask you a question then. If this was the case, and the brand split was not going to end, even though it should have ended, let me get this straight. You planned on unifying, quote unquote, unifying the titles, right? Yet we're not ending the brand split, yet there's one world champion in Roman Reigns. If you were not planning to end the brand split, why did we bother giving both titles to Roman Reigns? You're pretty much telling me that everything that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar went through in the last 8 months, with Lesnar and Reigns going back and forth over Heyman, Big E dropping the title to Lesnar, Lesnar winning the Rumble, and then going into the Chamber, winning the WWE Championship back. You're telling me that all of this was for nothing. All of it's meaningless. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar had a WrestleMania main event that was the exact same thing as their match at WrestleMania 34. And it was all for nothing. It's all for nothing. You're telling me all of this shit is meaningless at the end of the day. You were better off doing 2 separate world title matches at WrestleMania. If the brand split wasn't going to end, why did you do the title for title match? Why did you do it? Oh, yeah, you needed to sell WrestleMania because the rest of the card was so poorly built. And at the end of the day, that main event ended up disappointing greatly. It's ridiculous. The rosters are not equipped for a brand split anymore. 6 years ago they were, not anymore. Why? Because you fired over 200 people. The roster is as thinner than a piece of paper. The brand split needs to go. The brand split needs to go away, never to be seen again. But it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Why? Because WWE, they don't know what the fuck they are doing. They don't. They don't know what the fuck they are doing. And at the end of the fucking day, WWE is going to continue to have their shows suck on a weekly basis. It is ridiculous. I don't feel sorry for them at all. I don't feel sorry for WWE. I don't feel sorry for Tessa. They're in the same boat as Tessa Blanchard. I don't feel sorry for them. You do what you do. You do not stand up to the networks, and the networks are killing your show on a weekly basis. You get what you put in. You get what you put in. The WWE product will continue to suck. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. I greatly appreciate every single one of you coming on in and joining. Earl Cole, he joined the chat. Greatly appreciate Mr. Earl Cole. Earl Cole is great at what he does. We're going to get into the weekly show reviews. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the show so far. We're almost an hour into the show. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Raw, as per usual, sucked. Raw, as per usual, was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, they kicked off the show. Roman just soaked in everything. He goes, North Carolina, acknowledge me. So then out of nowhere, RK Bro came in with double RKOs on the Usos. Drew McIntyre came out. Roman Reigns was surrounded. We had RK Bro stepping out of the ring. And Drew had Roman all to himself. We got a big brawl. The referees and officials came out. And then all of a sudden we go to commercial. And then everything was back to normal by the time we got back from commercial. Really nothing of note. And nothing to go back and rewatch. Just another cheap way with these big brawls where the officials come out to separate everyone. A big brawl in which the officials come out to separate all of these individuals to sell a six-man tag team match that should honestly be happening on a fucking house show. Never mind a fucking pay-per-view. Street Profits. They teamed up with Ezekiel to take on Kevin Owens and the Alpha Academy. We've seen these stereotypical six-man tag team matches all the time. The one thing I will say, though, I will say one thing. Ezekiel, Elias, whatever you want to call him, he looked good. He looked very good. And I gotta shout out Elias or Ezekiel, whatever you want to call him. He got himself, into great shape, and he really worked to get a little better in the ring. That much I will say. He was doing a lot of new moves. He was doing jumping knees and spine busters, stinger splashes. He had a nice stalling brain buster. Ezekiel looked very good in the small bits of offense that we saw. So he's got a good look. He's decent in the ring. All he needs now is a decent character. WWE's characters are so one-dimensional. There is no one in WWE that actually stands out minus Cody Rhodes. Even Roman Reigns, like I said, has fallen off the tracks. It's the same shit every single week with Roman Reigns. All these characters that WWE has are so one-dimensional. Yet people want to come out and say that AEW is not creating new stars and AEW doesn't have characters. Clearly, they're not watching. They got the brain capacity of a fucking fruit fly. So at the end of this match, after Ezekiel, he got a nice tag, a nice little pop. He had a spine buster, a flying knee. a mule kick, a stinger splash, and a stalling brainbuster. After that, nice little flurry of offense by Ezekiel. Street Profits, they tried to take out Otis and Owens to no avail. Otis then tripped up Ezekiel, and Chad Gable got the roll-up for the win. Unfortunately, I don't see WWE putting much investment into Ezekiel. I don't. And it sucks because they need something. WWE needs something of substance for their product. They got nothing. They got nothing. But the heels take the win. And at the end of all this, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I have a feeling we're going to get Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. That should be a decent in-ring match in itself, but it's not like many people are going to care about it anyway because the WWE, they don't know how to book their fucking show. Veer Mahan, he took on Bert Hansen. Byron Saxton, he interviewed him, and Bert Hansen talked about how he wanted to compete on Raw in Greensboro, and I'm going to make my dream come true. Obviously, that did not happen as Veer absolutely destroyed Hansen with the $1 million clothesline and the cervical clutch. Hansen tapped, and then Veer assaulted him after the bell, and that was it. This is getting old. It's old. It's old. It's stereotypical. I need Veer in there with someone that can actually work. You're booking Veer like a hybrid of Ryback and the Viking Raiders. When the Viking Raiders first showed up on the main roster, the Viking Raiders showed up on the main roster, and for 6 straight months, all they did was fight local enhancement talents week after week after week on Monday Night Raw. And now we got a little dose of Ryback in there too. They're doing the same thing with Gunther on SmackDown. They're booking him just like Ryback, just like the Viking Raiders when the Viking Raiders came up to the main roster. Both Veer and Gunther are one and the same. We need some actual fucking competition for these individuals. You can look dominant all you want. If you can't work, if you can't sell, if you can't actually fight, shouldn't be here. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Dee Dee's mother. Today's also my grandfather's birthday. God rest his soul. He would have been 86. He would have been 86 today if he was still alive. I think about him every day. It's the golden Christ head. I wear this every single time I leave the house. This was his. God rest his soul. Damian Priest and Edge came out. This was a very good promo by Edge and Damian Priest. Edge then took the mic. He said, "We are Judgment Day. Most of you can't stand to look at yourselves in the mirror and you don't like me anymore. But that's because you despise yourselves," which is exactly the people that hate me. People that hate me can't stand to look at themselves in the mirror. They despise themselves because they see a confident, intelligent, successful 23-year-old, and they hate that. They hate that I'm doing better than they are. He goes, "It is a miracle that you can wobble out of your doors and climb to find your seats tonight. If you had an opportunity to support a sports franchise, it would be the Greensboro Lemmings. AJ, you are walking right into pain and suffering at WrestleMania Backlash." He then egged on the crowd to boo him, and then Styles interrupted Edge, and we go into Styles versus Priest. Listen, this was a great promo, and Priest and Edge, I love the combo, but holy shit. Like, why is Priest being used as a pawn? Why is Priest being used as a pawn for Styles to beat? He should be winning matches consistently. He should be booked just like Edge is being booked. He should be winning matches. We had Priest versus AJ Styles, which was probably the best match on the show. This was a very good match. If Styles won, then Priest would be banned from ringside at WrestleMania Backlash. So Priest and Styles went after each other. Styles with a slingshot forearm. He was in control. Priest then got caught with a torture rack powerbomb for a 2. Priest then was caught with a Pele kick. Priest then with South of Heaven. Styles just kicked out. Styles locked in the calf crusher. Edge caused a distraction. Styles ended up rolling Priest for the win in a very good match. Edge and Priest then took out Styles, and we had Finn Balor coming out to save AJ Styles from Damian Priest and Edge's beatdown. I like it. It's good. It makes sense, but at the end of the day, I don't see Balor lasting long. Some people are thinking that this is going to lead to a tag team match, which it will. Some people think, I myself think, that it could lead to a six-man tag team match. We're going to get Ciampa joining Judgment Day, and then Ali's going to join AJ Styles' side. And we're going to get a six-man tag. But after that, I don't know why. I have a feeling that if we get this tag team match, we're not even going to make it to the six-man tag team match. If we get this match at Hell in a Cell, then Finn Balor's there merely to take the pin, and Judgment Day are going to get the win, and Judgment Day, they're going to send Balor to the unemployment line. As soon as we get this tag team match and Judgment Day beats Finn Balor and AJ Styles by pinning Balor, Balor's going to receive that phone call from Mr. John Laurinaitis. My name is Mr. John Laurinaitis, and I have a message for Finn Balor. We wish you good luck in your future endeavors, Mr. Fergal Devitt, and we're going to do it in the good name of People Power. That's it. Finn Balor is merely there to take the pin by Judgment Day. And it sucks. Miz TV, he introduced Mustafa Ali. Miz then pointed out a miscue where the music stopped. I wasn't sure what that was, but then I understood what they were doing because his mic wasn't working. This was intentional. Miz was just out there trying to bury Ali. Pathetic by WWE. Absolutely pathetic right there. So Ali was then told, don't go and complain about it on Twitter. Ali even took the mic and he said, the only thing that we have to complain about is the fact that you still work here. I'm in total agreement with Ali. Ali has been cutting some pretty damn good promos these last couple weeks. All he has to do is watch Miz wrestle, and the only reason why we have to complain is the fact that you still work here. And that is a truth bomb if I've ever heard a truth bomb. You know why? Because the Miz, he's fucking meaningless. He's worthless. He makes the shows worse, and that is a fact. So Ali goes, when you get frustrated, you rant to the powers that be in the back. But when I feel unheard, I go to them, the crowd, because to me, they are the only ones that matter. Austin Theory then came out. Theory then said, you had a match and you weren't ready to prepare, Miz. So I spoke to Vince, and that loss will be removed from the record books permanently. Ali then said, you both talk too much. Theory, I do want to be U.S. champ, but I want to fight to earn the opportunity. Theory then said, you got a championship contenders match tonight, and when it comes to me, you can't beat me. And I don't know if you can handle all that heat. Ali accepted, but it was actually a handicap match. It was Ali versus Miz and Theory. Terrible. Terrible. First of all, the championship contenders matches need to be eradicated immediately. I pray to fucking Christ. I pray to Christ that WWE, if this report of the ranking system being introduced to WWE is true, I pray to Christ that they do it immediately. Because these championship contenders matches need to fucking die immediately. Immediately. And then on top of that, 50-50 booking strikes again. 50-50 booking strikes again, and Ali loses to Austin Theory and The Miz within 3 minutes. Skull-crushing finale, 50-50 booking strikes, and that's it. That's it. WWE sucks, and Ciampa then attacked Ali again. Who cares? We've seen this shit time and time and time again. Nikki Trash, she won the 24/7 title in the back. And then earlier in the evening, when she won the 24/7 title, Dana Brooke then told Reggie to get her a rematch. Reggie got her a rematch. Dana won the title back. Reggie then tried to roll up Dana. Dana kicked out. Dana slapped Reggie. And then Dana said, I want a divorce. Where's the bleach? Where's the noose? Where's the knife? I need to slit something because I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't. Put me out of my misery. Pass me the pistol. Put me out of my misery. Put me out of my fucking misery with this 24/7 title. It's the same bullshit every fucking week. I am fucking sick of it. Everyone is. Can't do it anymore. Seth Rollins then came out for Seth Rollins appreciation. Oh, by the way, every single time they call him Seth freaking Rollins, I'm fucking done with this shit. I really am. Why did we need to change him to Seth freaking Rollins? Why does it need to be said every single time on commentary? Who gave the edict for this? Who gave the edict to change it to Seth freaking Rollins? It's so fucking corny. WWE just makes everything uncool. They make everything fucking unbearable to listen to or watch. So he came out there to put a spotlight on himself. The crowd then chanted Cody. And he said, Cody cannot steal my spotlight because Seth Rollins is the damn spotlight. So they were going to play a video package for Rollins, but Cody ended up coming out. Cody Rhodes then talked about victory at WrestleMania. He says, I've been a gentleman, but I have a feeling you're about to cross a line that you don't want to cross. I can also tell you that you are delusional, and that would be correct. Rollins then mentioned Dusty Rhodes. Dusty wrestling in this arena, but he was an egomaniac that thought he was larger than life. Dusty wanted to be WWE champion, but he wasn't good enough, and as long as I'm here, you're not good enough either. So Cody then had a brawl with Rollins. He hit the Cody cutter, and Rollins rolled up the ramp. I don't like Cody's chances. I don't like it. I don't like Cody's chances at WrestleMania Backlash. I really don't. I'm legitimately worried. Cody Rhodes should not lose. Cody Rhodes needs to remain undefeated going into SummerSlam, where he faces Roman Reigns and he beats Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Championship. If that doesn't happen, I have no faith in WWE at all that they are going to book Cody right for the rest of the time that he's there. They have a gold mine with Cody. Cody needs to beat Roman for the title, and Cody should remain undefeated going into next year's WrestleMania until you find an individual to win the Royal Rumble, preferably Gunther, and then Gunther can beat Roman Reigns. Roman can face The Rock, and then Cody could drop the title to Gunther at WrestleMania. I don't like Cody's chances. If Cody Rhodes loses, this is not a good scenario. Not a good scenario at all. Cody should not lose to Rollins, no matter how great of a match it may be. Bobby Lashley, he took on Cedric Alexander. Omos and MVP came out. MVP was just trash-talking Lashley for the whole match. Lashley then drove Cedric into the post, spun Cedric around like a fucking helicopter. He had a spear to Cedric, hurt lock, and that was it. If the first match at WrestleMania was bad, then this match at WrestleMania Backlash is going to be even worse. Kill me now. Kill me now. Sonya Deville, Rhea Ripley, and Becky Lynch. The discount Lady Gaga, Becky Lynch. They took on Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. I did not give two shits about this match. Same shit we've seen every single week. 6-woman tag team matches that we've seen time and time again. Matches involving a bunch of feuds that no one gives a shit about to begin with. Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. And no one gave a shit about it either. This was a waste of time. The women's division absolutely sucks. You want women's wrestling? Go watch what we saw on Rampage with that women's tag team match with Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, and Ruby Soho. Go and watch what we saw with Yuka Sakazaki and Riho. That is women's wrestling. Sonya Deville tried to use the ropes. And then the ref said no. Obviously, she's still trying to abuse her power. All of a sudden, Bianca Belair shoved Sonya Deville's feet off the ropes, and then all of a sudden, we got Liv Morgan out of nowhere hitting Oblivion, as if this victory for Liv Morgan really means anything. Yeah, this victory for Liv Morgan really means something. Let me laugh as obnoxiously and loud as possible. Yeah, this victory really means a lot for Liv Morgan after she's been losing every fucking week since November. Lost twice to Becky Lynch. She took the pin in the triple threat match against Doudrop. She's been losing to Sasha Banks and Naomi for the women's tag team championships. Yeah, I'm sure this victory is going to go a long way for Liv Morgan. Wrong! You fucking retards! This victory means nothing for Liv Morgan. Yeah, Liv Morgan's going to benefit. Yeah, sure. Raw sucked. NXT. I did watch NXT this week. Unfortunately, I did. It was a big show. I felt like I had to cover it. NXT Spring Breakin'. Listen, it was an okay show. We got some decent wrestling on the show. But at the end of all this, it's just a dead fucking brand. No one gives a shit. The ratings continue to go down every week. The ratings continue to go. No one gives a shit about NXT. It's meaningless. Legitimately, I've seen the trend, the trend count for NXT on Tuesdays. No one cares about it. Barely anyone is talking about it outside of Fightful, outside of myself, outside of a couple of people that no one gives a shit about to watch because their YouTube channel fucking sucks donkey dick. No one cares about NXT. No one cares. NXT means nothing. It was a decent show. We got some decent wrestling. I loved some of the talent on the show, but it means nothing. The best match of the night opened the show. It was Carmelo Hayes, Solo Sikoa, and Cameron Grimes. This is for the NXT North American Championship. So this was an excellent match right here. Excellent match from start to finish. This is the only match that I would recommend you going back to rewatch. So Grimes and Sikoa, they took out Hayes. Hayes then came back with a springboard clothesline on Sikoa. We had a slingshot guillotine leg drop to Grimes. Grimes came back with a Spanish fly. Solo Sikoa broke that up with a senton. Coming back from commercial, we had a big Tower of Doom superplex spot. All three men are down. Grimes then was stuck in a tree of woe. Hayes was in a seated position. Sikoa with a double hip attack. A released German suplex by Sikoa on Grimes. He then powerbombed Hayes onto Grimes. He had a spinning Uranagi, tribute to Yokozuna, I believe it was. Grimes then saved the match. We had a double Hurricane Rana on Sikoa and Hayes by Grimes. Poison Rana by Grimes onto Hayes. There is no way to make that look safe. That only got a 2 count. We had a code breaker by Hayes. Grimes barely kicked out. Hayes was then taken out with a super kick by Sikoa. Sikoa went up to the top with the Uso splash. I thought Solo Sikoa won it right there. Hayes barely was saved by Grimes. Grimes then hit the cave-in on Sikoa, and Grimes retains the title. This was an excellent match. The best match, probably the best match in WWE all week was this triple threat match. On a show that is largely terrible, on a show in which 97% of the material is shit, the North American Championship title scene has been the one consistent bright spot. Carmelo Hayes has had a great reign, great matches with Gargano and Dunn and Grimes and Roderick Strong. We had a great ladder match at TakeOver, not TakeOver, just Stand and Deliver. And now we got Grimes. In the first month, Grimes has had a great reign. The match with Solo Sikoa was great, and this triple threat match was phenomenal. Grimes is off to a great start, and I'm very happy that Cameron Grimes is getting the showcase that he deserves here on NXT. Cameron Grimes is awesome. Cameron Grimes is great. Grimes retains, rightfully so. We'll see how he favors going forward. And you got a lot. You got a lot to work with in the NXT North American Championship title division. You got Tony D. You got Santos Escobar. You got Grayson Waller, Nathan Frazer, Roderick Strong, Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes. You got a lot of great talent in the mid-card to work with. So I think Cameron Grimes is going to have a nice, fruitful title reign if they decide to give him one. So we had a video package in which Wendy Chu played a prank on Mandy Rose where she set the tanning bed up to like 100. I don't know what it was, but Mandy Rose, she was tan as shit and she was peeling. Tan as shit and she was peeling. So Wendy Chu and Roxanne Perez are playing high school pranks on the NXT Women's and NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Nathan Frazer. He took on Grayson Waller. This was probably the second best match of the night. This was a very good match right here between these two individuals. Nathan Frazer is phenomenal. I mean, of course he's phenomenal. He was trained by Seth Rollins. Nathan Frazer is phenomenal. And Grayson Waller has come a long way. I got to give a lot of respect to Grayson Waller because Grayson Waller, he did not come off as an individual that was going to make an impact at all. But he has morphed himself into a pretty damn good fucking heel to a point where the people want to see him legitimately get his face punched in. So props to Grayson Waller. Props to Grayson Waller. And this was a very good match right here. Really good stuff. Nice and technical between the two men. Waller tried to keep Frazer grounded. Frazer came back with some chops. Waller then pushed Frazer off the top rope. He had a sliding clothesline. Coming back from commercial, Frazer with a nice enziguri. Waller then hit a leg lariat and a fireman's carry spine buster for a 2. Frazer then kicked out. Frazer then mounted a comeback. We had a huge tope suicida. Back in the ring, Frazer hit a super kick and a second one. Waller ended up grabbing the bottom rope. Frazer then missed the Phoenix Splash. Waller then this was innovative right here. He hit a leaping forward flip, and then it looked like he hit a kill switch on Nathan Frazer. Grayson Waller, I got to give him props. He's evolving. He's trying new things. He's innovative. He's very good. So a leaping kill switch, which looked awesome. Frazer then kicked out. Frazer then fell to the floor. Andre Chase then blew an air horn, which distracted Waller. Frazer then took advantage, then hit a beautiful Phoenix Splash for the win. This was a very good match. Very good match indeed. But at the end of the day, him being paired with Andre Chase isn't necessarily a good look. I'm sorry. Andre Chase is a comedic character. He's not a character that someone like a Nathan Frazer should be pairing himself with just based off of the fact that it's detrimental. It's detrimental to the overall persona of Nathan Frazer. Nathan Frazer's not going to be taken seriously with Andre Chase as his fucking mentor. That was the only thing I hated about this match. Other than that, it was a very good match. And I'm very happy to see Nathan Frazer getting the win. I would put him against Cameron Grimes. Let those two put on a fucking classic. Give me Frazer and Grimes. That would be a great match. We had Tony D. Tony D'Angelo. Yeah, forget about it. So he had a sit-down interview, or a sit-down, almost like a sit-down arrangement with Santos Escobar where they could come to an agreement and they could have peace between their two families. It was very Godfather-esque. They're very mafia-like. So it was in a very fancy restaurant. Looked pretty good. So they were saying, well, we both very powerful men, goes Tony D'Angelo. And he's like, I'm willing to look past all these things said. Escobar then says, he doesn't see trust. You play lowball offers. Escobar then pitched a way that they could do business. Escobar then called a truce. Tony and Santos then made a toast to their peace offering. And then all of a sudden, as Tony D walked away with his party, Santos said, Cruz, start the car. I thought this was great. This may be the most interesting thing on NXT 2.0 right now, specifically because Santos and Tony are just great at what they do. I'm very much looking forward to this inevitable match. I don't know why this match was not on the show. We got fucking Nikita Lyons and Cora Jade. Listen, I love Nikita Lyons as much as anyone else, but the other three are fucking terrible. Natalya's boring as fuck. Cora Jade and Lash Legend can't fucking wrestle for shit. They shouldn't even be on television. And this match was completely fucking meaningless. Completely fucking meaningless. And at the end of it all, we got Nikita Lyons and Cora Jade taking the victory. Who gives a shit? Honest to God, who gives a shit? That match should not have been on the show. That match wasn't even for an NXT Level Up show. We should have gotten Tony D and Santos Escobar fighting on the show. I'm not even talking about the women's match because the women's division absolutely sucks. Nikita Lyons, she's evolving as time goes on, and she's going to get better. But the other three, no thank you. No thank you. We don't need Trash Legend. We don't need liberal Dick Rider, Cora Jade. We don't need boring cat lady Natalya. We don't need that. Roxanne Perez and Wendy Chu. They stole Toxic Attraction's shoes and they had them walk on the hot road to walk to their car to get their keys. This was terrible. 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 Absolutely, positively terrible. Stupid. Absolutely fucking stupid. I don't care. Well, the only reason why they're doing this, they're pairing them together because there's no fucking women's tag team division, so they need a team for Toxic Attraction to fucking face. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is such a great presentation of women's wrestling, says Becky Lynch, and how they're represented well. Yeah, they're really represented well. Wendy Chu playing pranks on Toxic Attraction in their fucking pajamas. Toxic Attraction is nothing but tits and ass. You want women's wrestling? Go watch what Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida did a week ago. That's women's wrestling. Go watch what Jade Cargill has become. That's a good representation of women's wrestling. Fuck out of here with this shit. Dumb cunt. Creed Brothers. Creed Brothers took on the Viking Raiders. The Creeds were in control. Ivar then regained control off of the apron with a splash onto Brutus. Coming back from commercial, Brutus was isolated. Julius got the hot tag. He had a big exploder suplex on Eric. Eric then with Death Row. Julius kicked out. We had a powerbomb by Ivar for 2. Excuse me. Ivar then with a diving splash on Brutus. Eric covered, but Brutus kicked out. Ivar then with a seated senton on Julius. Julius then with a beautiful superplex off the top to Ivar. The Viking Raiders then hit their Viking fallout, but Brutus saved the match. Eric then was on the ropes. Roderick Strong came out of nowhere with a fucking flying knee behind the referee's back. Julius hit the sliding lariat, and the Creeds get the win in a very good tag team match. Probably the third best match of the night. I don't understand why. I really don't understand why we don't get this kind of tag team wrestling on the main roster. Why is it that whenever WWE wants to, they put on good tag team wrestling, and then whenever they have the opportunity to do it on a consistent basis, they just throw it off to the side. Now we don't care. This is tag team wrestling. We should be getting more matches like this as the weeks go on. We need to see more matches like this. And Roderick Strong, he caused the distraction, and the Creed brothers clearly weren't happy. So at this rate, what was the storyline? The storyline was to embarrass Roderick Strong and have the Creed brothers break away from him, and Roderick Strong's going to take a hike. He'll be released sooner rather than later at this rate. A very good match, though. A very good match. But again, the storyline with Roderick Strong and the Creed brothers is going to lead to the destruction of Diamond Mine. We had Legado del Fantasma. They kidnapped AJ Galante. Things are starting to get interesting. Next week, we got the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament beginning, and we also got Toxic Attraction versus Roxanne Perez and Wendy Chu next week. I don't care. I will not be taking notes. I'll watch it, but I'm not taking notes. Joe Gacy versus Braun Breaker. This is for the NXT Championship. This was probably the best Joe Gacy match that we've seen in NXT. Probably the best Joe Gacy match that we've seen in NXT. However, Joe Gacy has already peaked. Joe Gacy has already peaked. There's nothing more for Joe Gacy to do. There's really nothing interesting for Joe Gacy to come off as. Joe Gacy has hit his ceiling. Now they got the Druids pairing up with Joe Gacy, and Harlan got released. Harlan was a great addition to the Joe Gacy act. Harlan and Joe Gacy were better together than Joe Gacy is separately. This was a decent little match right here. Braun Breaker and Joe Gacy did fairly okay, but at the end of all of this, Joe Gacy is not going to amount to anything. I'd be shocked if Joe Gacy is still with NXT by the end of the year. I would not be shocked if he's fired. The match itself was a decent little match, but at the end of the day, Joe Gacy and the character, they have not taken that character in the right direction at all. At all. Gacy, he had a nice rebound lariat on the floor. Gacy actually hung upside down. He hung upside down like fucking Bray Wyatt. So now they're legitimately trying to have him copy and paste the Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt. Gacy even hit a Uranagi like Bray Wyatt. Breaker then mounted a comeback with a nice lariat. Gacy came in with a Scorpion Death Drop for a 2. Breaker then stopped a suicide dive by Gacy. He had a middle rope bulldog. That got a 2. Breaker with a Hurricane Rana and a belly-to-belly suplex for a 2. Gacy with a sit-out powerbomb. Breaker kicked out. Breaker then hit a spear and retained the title with a spear. A pretty decent match, a pretty decent wrestling show, but ultimately, no one gives a shit about NXT. And at the end of the day, NXT is a dead fucking brand. NXT is a dead brand, and we, at the end of the day, do not give a shit about anything that NXT is doing. At least people with a sense of high standards and a sense of intelligence, they don't care about anything that NXT is doing because NXT sucks. So, after that, we move on to Dynamite, but I greatly appreciate every single one of you. You guys have been great all day. You guys have been great all day. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. And we got a lot of content to dissect. We are going to get right into the Dynamite review, which was a great show. A great show from start to finish. We had a lot of great wrestling on the show, and we're going to dissect it right now as Lisa clearly is pissed off that she has not secured her little guinea pig, which, by the way, is a black guinea pig with white fur on his nose and on his feet. She's been marking out over this. She was telling me all about it. I called Lisa. She was fucking marking out all day over this fucking guinea pig. Listen, he sounds great, but he's not DJ Storms. Let me just point that out there. Anyway. Let's talk about Dynamite. Let's talk about the best wrestling show for the entire week. Dynamite was a great show. We started off with Bobby Fish versus Jeff Hardy. This was an Owen Hart Cup Tournament qualifying match. And this was a pretty solid match. Considering these two are up there in age, these two actually matched up fairly okay. A pretty solid match. Both men, they worked okay together. So I actually liked what we got here. Adam Cole was on commentary. Hardy was worn down by Fish. Hardy then came back with a mule kick. Hardy then with a jawbreaker. Fish then with a stiff kick. Hardy mounted a comeback with an atomic drop and a nice elbow drop. Fish kicked out. Hardy hit the twist of hate. And if you're wondering what is the difference between the twist of hate and the twist of fate, a twist of fate is a move where they start with the headlock position and it drops into an RKO, a cutter. But a twist of hate is when they do the headlock position and they drop it into a stunner. The stunner is the twist of fate, is the twist of hate. The cutter is the twist of fate. So the twist of hate connects. Hardy went up to the top. Fish stopped him. Fish with a beautiful avalanche falcon arrow off the top. Hardy just kicked out. Fish locked in a heel hook. Hardy grabbed the ropes. Hardy with Whisper in the Wind just caught the back of Bobby Fish's head. I actually like it when it catches the back of Bobby Fish's head. It looks a little bit more devastating. And then he hits a flush swanton bomb. He fucking bounced off of Bobby Fish's stomach like Bobby Fish was a fucking trampoline. The swanton bomb looked beautiful. Beautiful flush swanton bomb. And Jeff Hardy advances in a very solid match. Afterwards, the Young Bucks came out and they stared down the Hardys and they checked on Fish. Very interesting. Looks like we're getting the Young Bucks versus the Hardys at Double or Nothing. And the Hardys, I can see the Hardys taking the win right there. Blackpool Combat Club. They took on the Butcher, the Blade, and Angelico. I like me some Angelico. No Jack Evans, because Jack Evans is not with AEW anymore. It was another fun match for the Blackpool Combat Club. It's always fun seeing the Blackpool Combat Club in action. So the heels then attacked the BCC immediately. The Butcher then hit a very nice crossbody on Wheeler Yuta. Yuta was then isolated. Yuta hit a German suplex to the Butcher. Tag to Moxley. He lit up the Blade. Moxley then hit a cutter. Very nice cutter. So we had a big lariat to Angelico. Tag to Bryan. A big drop kick. And then the BCC with triple submission holds. The triple elbows, the triple strikes, and then the triple submission holds. And the BCC get the win in another very fun match. Any day now, when Kenny Omega comes back, those trios championships are going to come on in, and we will indeed see the Blackpool Combat Club as its first champions. And it's going to be a great sight to see. Love what they're doing with the Blackpool Combat Club. Every single time they are getting better and better and better. Wardlow versus MJF's mystery opponent. Wardlow came out in cuffs as usual. MJF then came out with spears. He called Maryland ugly, as he usually does every city that's not Long Island. He then introduced William Morrissey, W. Morrissey. And he looked great. He looked damn good. Morrissey then with some single clubbing arms to the back. Morrissey then leapfrogged and hit a big boot on Wardlow. Crowd chanted, "We want Enzo, no we don't." I actually wanted to see him. Enzo's great. Enzo's great. I want to see Enzo. Enzo and Cass, they are a great fucking tag team. I would love to see him. So Morrissey was in control. Morrissey then had a very nice boss man slam for a 2. Wardlow then was on top. Morrissey then was on the mat. Wardlow hit a moonsault off the top onto Morrissey, and then he hit one big powerbomb onto William Morrissey, and Wardlow gets the win. Then, one after the other, this was actually pretty cool. Wardlow just took out security guard after security. There was at least 20 fucking security guards, and Wardlow took out every single one of them, and then he powerbombed one security guard over the fucking top onto the pile. That looked great. He then took the mic and he said, "This does not stop until I get my hands on you and you release me from my contract." MJF then pitched a match, and if Wardlow wins, he is free. He then played up to the crowd, and MJF then said, "I got a couple of conditions, and I'll be giving you those conditions next week in a contract signing in the most magical place on earth, Long Island, New York." People, we are going to give Lisa shit because Lisa is going to have to choose. It's either MJF or Wardlow. There is no in between. Lisa's got to pick a side. So if you see Lisa, be sure to tell her, you got to pick a side. It's MJF or it's Wardlow. You can't pick both, babe. You got to pick one. Got to pick one. That's the question. What side is she going to pick? She's going to have to do it because by Double or Nothing, we're getting that match. And she's going to be there. She's going to be there live in the flesh for Double or Nothing. I am telling you, if she doesn't pick, then we're just going to give her shit every single time that we stream for the rest of the year. I'm telling you right now. Lisa's got to pick. She's got to pick. Tony Schiavone, he invited Adam Page out to the ring. Adam Page, he was going to talk about his world title match against CM Punk at Double or Nothing. Adam Page goes, "It would be real easy to say that I love CM Punk and how much I look forward to shaking his hand. It would be real easy but that's not going to happen. Because at Double or Nothing, there's not going to be a Bret Hart tribute match. I am going to destroy CM Punk." He then called out a guy with a CM Punk shirt, and then Page told the crowd that Punk wasn't here. He called out Punk for filming another TV show. He goes, "You wanted a fight? You got one, and it will be the fight of your life." I love it. Love the intensity. This was not a heel promo. This was just a promo in which Adam Page, a man who's proud to be champion, is not going to allow CM Punk to come on in and take his spot as the world champion. And this is a great thing to see. It's a great thing to see that intensity coming out by Adam Page. We need more of this. This wasn't a heel promo, but at the end of the day, if Adam Page wants to portray a heel at some point, I think that it's going to be a very, very, very good run for him when we inevitably see him as a heel. But for now, he's just an intense babyface, plain and simple. Santana, he took on Chris Jericho. This was a damn good match with Santana and Jericho. Santana, he can go. Santana's multi-talented. A lot of people need to start giving Santana his just due. Santana is great at what he does. So the brawl started immediately. Jericho was in control. Santana then with a drop kick. Santana mounted a comeback. He hit the Three Amigos and then the Frog Splash for a 2. Jericho kicked out. We had the Walls of Jericho. Santana got to the ropes. We had a roll-through cutter by Santana. Ortiz then took a bat and took out the Jericho Appreciation Society. Santana with the discus lariat, but Jericho kicked out. Jericho then hit a low blow behind the referee's back, and then he hit the Judas Effect to win a damn good match here with Santana. And then they beat down Proud and Powerful with Eddie Kingston out of action, selling the effects of the Fireball. And it should be a pretty decent match between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. I heard that we're supposed to get a Vegas street fight between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho at Double or Nothing. And it's going to be damn good. It's going to be damn good. Lisa, you got to choose. You got to choose. Varsity Blondes. They had Julia Hart in the ring. Pillman was talking about his encounter with the House of Black and how everything that they worked for is being torn apart. He said that a friend of his father's told him to attack every day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I lost that enthusiasm, but today I'm feeling real goddamn enthusiastic. House of Black, Varsity Blondes, let's fight. So the lights go out and the House of Black make their entrance as menacing as ever. We got a big brawl. All of a sudden, they target Julia Hart. And Julia is motioned to come over here, and Buddy Matthews is being very gentle. He's moving Julia Hart over. He's not getting physical. And they give Julia Hart a chair. She teases hitting him with the chair. She teases hitting Garrison with the chair. She put the chair down. Malachi Black then ripped the eye patch off before Death Triangle came out, and now they stood toe-to-toe with the House of Black. Not sure why they didn't pull the trigger, but the transition is coming. And at Double or Nothing, I really do think that we do see the inevitable transformation of Julia Hart, and Julia Hart joins the House of Black. Julia Hart's going to help the House of Black win at Double or Nothing. I can feel it. Dante Martin, he took on Rey Fenix, Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifying match. This match was fucking fun. Really fucking fun, these two. Dante Martin and Fenix, they worked very well together. Fenix, he dove off the top rope with a cross body on Dante. Fenix then with a spin kick. This was crazy right here. Fenix and Dante were on the middle rope. Fenix hit a fucking reverse Spanish fly. Usually the Spanish fly is with Fenix and Dante facing each other. They were both facing the same way, and Dante landed on his stomach. That was fucking nuts right there. Reverse Spanish fly. That got a 2. We had a Hurricane Rana by Fenix for a 2. Fenix then with a power bomb transitioned into a cutter. That got a 2 count. We had a super kick by Dante. They were both on the top. Reverse Spanish fly, and both men landed on their feet, which looked fucking nuts. Dante then hit a poison Rana. Fenix rolls over his neck. Fenix then came back with an elevated Fire Thunder driver, and he gets the win in a great match. And he's fighting Kyle O'Reilly in the opening round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And holy shit, is it going to be great. Awesome stuff. Thunder Rosa. She came out, she talked about her story, and she cut a damn good babyface promo. Thunder Rosa cut a very good babyface promo here. Talked about a story having good guys and bad guys, successes and failures, how she became champion. She elevated the division that people continue to criticize. A nice jab right there at the stupid cunt, Becky Lynch. I love it. Great line there by Rosa. She brought out Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb then came out. She talked about Rosa winning the title. She talked about making this the best women's division in the entire world, but the best women's wrestler needs to be champion. Deeb then said that she is on another level and a class all my own, and it's time that I have a championship to show it. Deeb placed the bet that Rosa will be the shortest AEW Women's World Champion in history. She's going to have the shortest reign, and at Double or Nothing, she's taking the title. Excellent stuff. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this match. Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, they are going to put on a great fucking match. Cannot wait to see it. Rampage had a nice solid lineup. We had Konosuke Takeshita taking on Jay Lethal, Yuka Sakazaki, and Riho in an Owen Hart Cup qualifying match on Rampage. Then next week on Dynamite, we had CM Punk versus John Silver, Darby Allin versus Jeff Hardy, Adam Cole versus Dax Harwood, and then we got, I believe it's Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm in the opening round next week on Dynamite for the women, which should be great. That's going to be great. And then in the main event, Deonna Purrazzo, she took on Mercedes Martinez. This was for the undisputed Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Obviously, it's clear as day. This match did not get enough time. But I'm not even blaming I'm not even blaming the two women. I'm not even blaming Tony Khan. There's just not enough hours of AEW television time. Unfortunately, some matches are going to get cut. Doesn't make it right, but these two, they were a victim of not enough time, number one, and number two, there was just so many other great things on this show with the two Owen Hart Cup qualifying matches and Wardlow and MJF and Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, that great promo and all this other good shit. There was so much other shit on the show to a point where they were never going to overshadow it. These two women were never going to overshadow it. This match was placed in a poor spot. What we should have gotten these two women opening the show with one of the Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifying matches closing the show. That would have been a lot better. It was just a victim of poor placement. It was a victim of not enough time. And it was a victim of simply the fact that there was just no build. If this had a better build, this honestly should have been on the buy-in for Double or Nothing. If we had these two women on the buy-in for Double or Nothing, that would have made the buy-in a lot more important. This should have been on the buy-in for Double or Nothing with Martinez winning the championship. That's what they should have done. They didn't do that. I don't know why, but they didn't do it. The wrestling itself, for the 11 minutes that it went, these two women, they did just fine. The crowd just didn't give a shit. And it sucks. It sucks because with all the shit that's on the show, something is going to end up being overshadowed. Again, this should have either been the opening of the show or you should have waited to the buy-in for Double or Nothing to do this. It would have made Double or Nothing feel a little bit more important, and it would have given Mercedes Martinez a bigger moment on a big stage like Double or Nothing. Very poor booking, very poor placement. Both women did well, but at the end of the day, no one just gave a shit. So Martinez came back with a spear on the apron to Deonna. I will say this, though. I love Deonna. Deonna, seeing the journey of Deonna Purrazzo wrestle for Game Changer Wrestling back in 2016, and then make it to NXT, and then become the virtuosa and become this great women's wrestler, heralded as one of the best women's wrestlers in the world over an Impact. It's a great thing to see. Very happy that Deonna's come this far. She's making me as a Jersey kid proud. So Martinez with a backdrop driver and a punt kick in the corner. Deonna stayed alive. We had a punt kick by Deonna and a standing moonsault for a 2. We had a running knee and a fisherman buster by Martinez for a 2. A modified capture suplex by Deonna for a 2 count. Fujiwara armbar countered. Double clothesline. Both women are down. Martinez then with a Death Valley driver, a curb stomp, and the Romero special into the Dragon Sleeper. Deonna tried to fight back, but she couldn't. Martinez got the tap, and she won the Undisputed Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Just not enough time. Not enough time. There was no way that they were going to overshadow everything else that took place on the show. This should have been saved for Double or Nothing. I don't know why it wasn't. And the fact that it wasn't was very, very disappointing. It was rather disappointing. But I have a feeling that they're going to bounce back. Martinez, she is the right woman to lead the relaunch of Ring of Honor. And I do believe that once we get this Ring of Honor television show, Martinez is going to lead that division very well. Why did Deonna lose? Because she's not signed. She's still contracted to Impact. So at the end of the day, we're probably not going to see her until her Impact contract is up. Dynamite was great, minus the main event, which didn't get enough time. Very poorly booked right there. I'll tell you what wasn't great. NXT UK. NXT UK is just as dead as NXT 2.0. When you got Von Wagner and Trash Legend, and Von Wagner appearing on the show, you know that the brand is dead. I'm not even going to waste my time covering the show anymore. Unless we have these big title matches, I'll cover it next week because it's their 200th episode. But unless we have these big title matches, I'm not going to cover it anymore. It's in the same boat as 2.0. However, I will say this. Amir Jordan looks like he's back after he lost to Kenny Williams. He's wrestling under the name Tiger Turan, and it looks like he's targeting Kenny Williams. Next week, we got Jordan Devlin versus Ilya Dragunov, NXT UK Championship, and the loser will leave NXT UK. I'm actually very fearful of that. I'm very fearful of that. I'm actually afraid that we could very well see one of these individuals leave the brand. They're going to go to NXT 2.0, and they're going to get buried. They're going to get buried. Main event was, I don't recommend this. Holy shit. Meiko Satomura and Isla Dawn World of Darkness match for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Isla Dawn has been made into the fucking Scottish version of Funhouse Alexa Bliss. It is fucking terrible. She's making smoke come up from the ring. She's got her eyes rolling back in her head like the fucking Undertaker. It was fucking terrible. Terribly produced. Meiko deserves more than this. I'm actually shocked that Meiko retained because of her age. Now that Vince and Bruce are running NXT UK, I would not be fucking shocked if we see NXT UK become the land of NXT 2.0 for UK superstars. I would not be shocked if when Meiko Satomura inevitably loses the NXT UK Women's Championship, I would not be shocked if Meiko Satomura is fired just because of her age. Because the ageism in WWE, it's fucking terrible. Meiko actually retained. Meiko actually retained here against Isla Dawn. I would not be shocked if she's fired after she loses it. It's pathetic. Pathetic. NXT UK, do not recommend. I'm not even watching. After next week's 200th episode, I'm not even watching it anymore. Not even watching it anymore. I'll tell you what was not a waste of time, what was actually a very good show, AEW Rampage. Of course, you'll have Alfred the Pineapple Head, that fucking cocksucker who would be working for me if I did this full time. He would be on my payroll. He would be editing my videos. You can send that to him directly. Alfred the fucking Pineapple Head would be working for me if I was doing this full time. You're welcome, Alfred, for doing this part-time, so that way people like you, retards like you, will have the time and they'll have the platform to spew their own stupidity. Fucking retard. Rampage was very good. I actually like it when it's earlier. I really do. I like it when it's earlier, but one thing that's for sure, obviously, it's fucked up because now it's appearing at 5:30 rather than 10 p.m., whatever it may be. But one thing that is for sure, when it comes to Rampage, I really do hope that Tony Khan is working with TNT and the executives, and what we're going to see is Rampage being moved from 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's what it needs. It really needs to be moved to 7 p.m. on a Friday. That would work out so much better for them in the long run, really. But Rampage was a damn good show. We started off with a very good match with Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. They took on Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, DMD. Baker took over on Soho with a sling blade. Storm came in and she lit up Britt Baker with a nice boot to the face. We had a super kick barrage by Ruby Soho. We had a tag to Storm. Storm with a big hip attack, a big boot by Hayter, and a backstabber on Soho. A boot to Hayter, Alabama slam to Britt onto Hayter, and then Britt Baker hit an air raid crash. All four women are down. Very nice combo right there. We had a German suplex to Britt Baker. Up on the top, we had a butterfly suplex and a sliding lariat combo into the curb stomp. One move after the other. A very nice tag team maneuver right there by Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Soho saved the match. We had a super kick to Soho, and Toni Storm rolled up Britt Baker for the 1, 2, 3. And in the end, Toni Storm gets the victory for her team, and I'm very happy that she did. Britt Baker, she actually drew the Joker card. I actually thought that we were going to get Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker in the first round, but we're not. I'm not really complaining, though. I'm predicting we do see Athena in the Joker position. It's going to be a good thing to see because Athena is awesome. But this was a very good women's tag team match. All four women got a great amount of time to shine. And the Owen Hart Cup tournament, let me tell you something. The women's division in AEW for 2022 The women's division in AEW for 2022, they've really been stepping up their game. And I like where it's headed. Really good stuff. Hook versus JD Drake. This was very academic. Red rum for the win. Afterwards, Danhausen, very nice, very evil. Danhausen came out, and Danhausen, he asked Hook to be in his match, be in the corner for his match against the premier athlete, yes, Tony Nese. So Tony Nese is fighting Danhausen next week. I believe it's going to be on Rampage, if I'm not mistaken. And I like it. I like that. It's a great, simple storyline, and Tony Nese is getting some TV time. Tony Nese is going to be a very good hand on AEW television. I'm very happy that Tony Nese is getting this opportunity. He's getting in there with Danhausen. It's going to be great. So Hook then shoved Danhausen down, but Danhausen then pulled out a bag of chips with a bow on it for Hook's birthday and left it in the ring. Hook then picked it up, and Hook looked like he was trying to hold back tears. I don't know why. It's corny as fuck, but it's entertaining. And the crowd is fucking eating it up. When these two individuals end up joining forces, I'm telling you, the pop is going to be fucking big. It's going to be big. It's going to be a great sight to see. Hassan the man says, I have a great Danhausen impression. I know, because I'm great at what I do. I can do Danhausen, I can do Scooby-Doo, I can do Shaggy, I can do everything. I could speak in the fucking Danhausen impression for the rest of the show. Oh, DJ Storms is live on YouTube.com. He is Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best Twitter handle known to mankind. Ah, yes, that's very nice. And DJ Storms he's very, very, very evil himself. Very nice. When DJ Storms is live on YouTube, he gets the job done. And everybody should be watching DJ Storms. Everybody should be watching the one and only DJ Storms. But DJ Storms, he's nothing to the one and only Danhausen. How about that? Like it? I am not going as Danhausen for Halloween. I'm going to go as Danhausen for Halloween when he fucking unblocks me on Twitter. Fucking cunt. Danhausen. Anyway, I like it. The storyline, it's corny, but it's great. And Tony Nese is going to fight Danhausen next week. It's going to be a great thing to see. Tony Nese is going to get the win over Danhausen. I like me some Tony Nese. Riho versus Yuka Sakazaki. Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament qualifying match. This was another very good women's match. And at the end of the day, people, they need to understand that good things come to those who wait. You take a look at the progression of the women's division in the last few months, you can clearly fucking see that the women's division is fucking flourishing. It's fucking flourishing. Seriously. Patience is a virtue. Riho and Yuka Sakazaki, they're not going to be champions. But at the end of the fucking day, they are two very good wrestlers that add a lot to a women's division that is getting better week after week. And this was a very good match. So we had some nice back and forth early on. Yuka with a cannonball to the floor onto Riho. Coming back from commercial, Riho mounted a comeback with a Snapdragon suplex, double knees for a 2. Both women were on the top. Yuka with an avalanche flatliner on Riho. Riho just kicked out. We had some more back and forth roll-ups, and Riho rolled up Yuka for the win, and she advanced. She will take on Ruby Soho in the opening round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Should be a decent match. See what we can do there. We had an American Top Team promo with Dan Lambert. He's bashing Baltimore. He was from Baltimore, and he bashed Baltimore anyway because he's a dick. So Ethan Page, he got very angry. He was very, 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 very passionate. And he said that the mixed tag team match with Sammy and Tay is off. All of a sudden, Frankie Kazarian came out and he said that Paige is no better than Sammy because he just needs a dumb blonde and he would be Sammy Guevara. He then called out Scorpio Sky and he said that, and Scorpio then went to Dan Lambert and said, this interim title needs to go to the trophy case and the TNT title will no longer be passed around like Ty Conti backstage. And he accepted Frankie Kazarian's challenge for next week. This was excellent. This was excellent. Really, really, really good stuff right here. And next week's challenge, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky on Rampage. That's going to be a damn good fucking match. Can't wait to see it. It's going to be damn good. Konosuke Takeshita versus Jay Lethal. This was the main event of the show. And I got to say, Takeshita, I did not know much about him, but man, he fucking sold me. Takeshita sold me. He almost reminds me of a very young Kota Ibushi. It's almost as if what would happen if we saw Shinsuke Nakamura, if Shinsuke Nakamura looked like Kota Ibushi and he had the wrestling style of Kenny Omega. Konosuke Takeshita, I heard a lot of rumblings about him. People were telling me that you got to watch him. He sold me. Konosuke Takeshita, very, very, very good. Really good stuff right here. And Jay Lethal, it's always great to see Jay Lethal on TV. If this is what Takeshita is going to do, I'd bring him back. I would bring him back. Takeshita and Lethal were on the top. This was a great spot right here. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Takeshita and Lethal were on the top. Takeshita, he hit a clothesline, a lariat off the top to Lethal, turning him inside out. I don't think I've ever seen that before. He then hit a beautiful brainbuster for a 2. Lethal hit the lethal combination. Takeshita with a huge lariat and a jumping knee. Sanjay Dutt caused the distraction. Lethal with a beautiful lethal injection. And we get Jay Lethal getting the victory here in a very good match. Afterwards, Dutt then got the mic. He trashed Takeshita. The best friends came out. The Giant Singh, Satnam Singh, he took them out pretty quickly. Orange Cassidy then came in and stood face-to-face with Singh. Cassidy then got backup in the form of Samoa Joe with a lead pipe. So far, they're actually portraying Singh exactly how he should be. Satnam Singh's on the outside. He's not doing anything. He's just a muscle for Jay Lethal that beats people up after the match is over. So if Jay Lethal's in the ring, he's winning those matches with Satnam Singh on the outside being the bodyguard and Sanjay Dutt being the brains. You know what? This is a perfect combo. It's a win-win situation. Satnam Singh gets exposure on AEW television. Jay Lethal is wrestling, and no one gets hurt. There's no damage caused. No problem at all. So far, I do not mind Satnam Singh at all. He's not a detriment to television at all. He's there, and he's being the muscle for Jay Lethal. I got no problem with that. Rampage was a very good show. Rampage and Dynamite, really, really, really solid shows this week. Good stuff. Charlotte Flair and Aaliyah, they kicked off SmackDown. SmackDown was unbearable. Outside of the tables match, SmackDown completely unbearable. I don't know who enjoys this garbage known as SmackDown, really. Charlotte Flair and Aaliyah, they were going to kick off the show, but Charlotte attacked Aaliyah after she trashed Long Island. And then Aaliyah was taken out. We didn't even get Aaliyah versus Charlotte. Charlotte had a brawl. Charlotte had a brawl with Ronda Rousey. Charlotte horribly selling as per usual. The referees finally came out to separate them. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I swear to God, if this match main events WrestleMania Backlash tomorrow, I swear to God, we could be in for one of the worst matches of the fucking year. This shit is horrible. Horrible. Just give Ronda the fucking title, turn her heel, and have Ronda Rousey go into SummerSlam to fight Bianca Belair, unify the fucking women's titles, and get it over with. Cannot stand. I cannot stand it. Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler took on Sasha Banks. Wasn't overly horrible, but who gives a shit? Again, that's pretty much the theme. Who gives a fuck? The show is poorly booked. No one feels special. Everyone just feels like an afterthought. And Sasha Banks and Naomi look like fucking chumps. Baszler hit a sidewalk slam coming back from commercial. Sasha then hit a sliding drop kick. She bashed Baszler's arm off the announce table, hit a meteor for a 2. Sasha hit a knee. Didn't even connect on Baszler. We had a wheelbarrow bulldog. She took out Natty. Banks then got rolled up by Baszler with her feet on the ropes, and Natty held her down for the win. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who cares? I don't. And they attacked Banks and Naomi afterwards, and Naomi and Sasha hit a double eat defeat on Natalya. That was it. No one gives a fuck. After these two women's tag teams are done feuding, there's legit no competition. The only other competition is Doudrop and Nikki Trash. That's the only competition that Sasha and Naomi have left. And I guarantee you, they're going to lose the titles to those two chumps, and it's going to be nothing more than a fucking joke. It already is a joke. Get rid of these fucking women's tag. Sasha Banks and Naomi should be the SmackDown women's title feud right now. The fact that it's not is fucking ridiculous. Crappy talk. Crappy talk with Crappy Corbin. Madcap Moss came up on the screen, and he called Corbin a tryout for a Pitbull cover band. He said it looked like Hot Topic threw up on your chest. I'm not going to lie right here. What Madcap Moss said next was probably the best promo that he ever cut. I will say this. Madcap Moss, if he would ditch the fucking cheesy gimmick and the suspenders and the fucking dress shorts and the dress shoes, Madcap Moss could be a solid mid-carder. Seriously. So Madcap Moss came out to the ring, and he said, you've been a lot of things. You've gone through a lot of phases. Happy Corbin, Constable Corbin, TGI Fridays Corbin, bum-ass Corbin. Maybe your next phase, you can be entertaining. That was actually a very nice zinger. He then said, I would say you could go back to being the lone wolf, but wolves actually have hair. Maybe you can be the big, bald wolf. Corbin then just left, and that was it. It means nothing. It means nothing, but at the end of the day, this was probably the best promo that Madcap Moss ever cut. I don't think the match is going to be anything of note. Although Madcap Moss has been surprising a couple of people. His matches with McIntyre were actually pretty decent. Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre actually matched up pretty well. And I think that if they want to, he could have a decent match with Corbin too. We'll see what happens, but I don't really expect too much. I don't. I don't care about Corbin either. It's meaningless. Who gives a shit about Corbin? Drew Gulak was set to face a mystery opponent. Ludwig Kaiser appeared on the stage. Kaiser, what is this, Godzilla Final Wars? You and me are Kaisers. Human blood and mutant blood, Kaisers. That's what I think of when I hear Ludwig Kaiser. I picture Godzilla Final Wars, and I can't remember who the fucking main character. Ozaki. Ozaki is the main character in Godzilla Final. That was the greatest Godzilla movie of all time. Godzilla Final Wars was the greatest Godzilla movie of all time. I don't give a shit what anyone says. So Godzilla Final Wars, Ozaki is in the fucking Exilian ship. He's in the Exilian ship talking to Exilian X, and he says, you and I are Kaisers. That's what I think of whenever I look at Ludwig Kaiser. I think Godzilla Final Wars and Ozaki is fighting the main alien inside the ship. The two Kaisers are going at it. That's what I think of. But Godzilla Final Wars, that's a great fucking movie. That's actually one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Godzilla Final Wars is a great movie. Highly recommend it. So Ludwig Kaiser, Ludwig Ozaki Exilian Kaiser, he introduced Der Ring General Gunther. So Gunther, he absolutely destroyed Gulak. Gulak will be on the next round of budget cuts. Guarantee it, Gulak will be on the next round of budget cuts, and Gulak absolutely just got destroyed by Gunther. Let's get him in an actual fucking storyline. How about that? Let's get Gunther versus someone like Shinsuke. Give me Gunther versus Shinsuke. Why isn't that match? If you were going to do Drew McIntyre and Roman, why not give me a match that I could actually get behind? Gunther and Shinsuke could actually be a great fucking match. Seriously. New Day. They took on Sheamus and Ridge Holland. It was a tables match. It's actually a pretty fun match, but how can I really be invested in this shit? Who cares? We've seen these teams how many fucking weeks in a row? Raging Girl Gamer is actually in the chat. Raging Girl Gamer is fucking awesome. Raging Girl Gamer is a fucking beast. She actually does reaction videos, and she also does WWE 2K22 universe modes. She actually was playing on a universe mode, and she was Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, she went for the curb stomp as Seth Rollins, and fucking Roman Reigns caught her in a fucking curb stomp RKO combination. So, shout out to Raging Girl Gamer. She's awesome. Girl Gamer's awesome. So, New Day were in control of this match. There was a spot where Kofi dove over the post onto Sheamus, and they crashed through the barricade. That looked good. Coming back from commercial, Holland and Sheamus started to wear down the New Day. Kingston then was caught with white noise on the apron. Woods came back with a rolling elbow to Holland, a heel kick to Holland. Holland was then placed on a table. Woods went for the big elbow, but Sheamus cut him off. Kingston then hit a trust fall dive onto Sheamus. He set up the announce table for Xavier Woods to dive from the ring, through Sheamus, through the table. And then all of a sudden, Pete Dunne came out of fucking nowhere. Where's Butch? Here's Butch. Here's Butchie. Butch came from underneath the fucking ring. He's beating the shit out of Kofi. All of a sudden, we see a bro kick to Woods, and then a double choke slam to Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods crashes through the table, and Sheamus and Holland, they take the victory. A fun match, but no more of these two teams. No more. Please, no more. No more. I cannot take another New Day versus Holland and Sheamus match. Can't do it. More Lacey Evans bullshit. I'm sorry, this Lacey Evans bullshit's not working. I'm sorry, it's not working. The crowd didn't give a shit about it. They actually introduced her, and she didn't even say anything. She didn't even cut a promo, but they introduced her in front of the live audience, and no one gave a shit. A very lame, a very tame reaction. No one really cared. Nobody cared. Why is Lacey Evans back on television? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Sami Zayn, he took on Shinsuke Nakamura. Who gives a shit? Seriously. Sami Zayn won via countout. This version of Sami Zayn is terrible. This version of Sami Zayn is fucking terrible. This version of Sami Zayn has been made to look like a complete fucking joke. Sami is a fucking enhancement talent at this point. You know what we need? We need someone. I don't know. We need a fucking legend to come back. I know people hate legends and coming back on WWE television and taking up a spot, but this would actually be very, very, very good. Listen to this. If you guys remember, I remember this like it was yesterday. This was actually one of my favorite promos, if not my favorite promo of all time. This promo, it does not get enough appreciation. This promo stuck with me for years, throughout my entirety as a wrestling fan. this one promo stuck with me. It was a promo between Edge and Mick Foley. Now, Mick Foley, we all know Mick Foley's a fucking loser. We all know Mick Foley's nothing more than a liberal dick rider. Oh, Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter. We need Trump. Oh, Trump's starting an insurrection now. All this bullshit. I'm going to leave Twitter because Elon Musk bought Twitter. Mick Foley is a fucking loser. However, there was this one promo that Mick Foley had with Edge. Edge and The Undertaker, they had one of the most underrated feuds in history. I loved the Edge-Undertaker feud from 2008. That was a great fucking feud. Really, it was. That was a great feud. It culminated inside Hell in a Cell with Edge and The Undertaker at SummerSlam 2008. And I remember exactly where I was. My family had hardwood floor put into my house, and I was sitting there. It was just a TV in the living room. It was a TV. I was sitting on the floor. My dad was sitting in a chair, and we watched that pay-per-view. It was my very first pay-per-view ever, and I loved it. Loved SummerSlam 2008, and that Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker and Edge was fucking great. The most underrated Hell in a Cell match of all time. So, during the build towards Edge and Undertaker at Hell in a Cell, there was a promo. There was a promo with Edge and Mick Foley. Edge invited Mick Foley on the cutting edge, and Edge goes, "Remember what The Undertaker did to you? I've seen you try and walk every day, ever since the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, and you can't do it because The Undertaker did that to you. But if you help me, if you get your hands on The Undertaker, maybe all of that pain, maybe it'll all just wash away." And Mick Foley goes, "You bring up some great points, but you hurt my credibility with the audience because I said Edge is the greatest superstar in WWE, even when it's not popular, but all these fans think you suck because you rely on your wife, you play the numbers game. Not only will I not help you, I can't help you, but I know the one person who can. Edge." And I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Mick Foley goes, "You need to look inside your heart, inside your soul, inside your mind, and find the Edge that made me say, you are the greatest superstar in WWE. The Edge that shattered through the glass ceiling, even when everyone said it wouldn't be popular. The Edge that took the letters TLC and made them mean something. The Edge that smelled his own flesh burning and didn't mind because it reminded him of victory. Because if you bring this Edge to SummerSlam, the white tuxedo wearing Edge, the teeter-totter riding Edge, the forgive me baby, I can't live, I won't live without your love, Vicky Guerrero Edge, you bring this Edge to SummerSlam and The Undertaker will tear you apart." This is what we need with Sami Zayn. We need someone who's a promo god to come to SmackDown, and we need a Sami Zayn promo with this individual. I don't care who the fuck it is. Bring Mick Foley back for all I care. He's a loser, but bring him back. Bring Mick Foley back for this one night just to cut this promo. So that way we can have someone say, "I can't help you, but I know the one person who can. Sami Zayn." We need the underdog of the underground back. We need the Sami Zayn that put on Match of the Year candidates in NXT. We need the Sami Zayn that stood toe-to-toe with Shinsuke Nakamura and gave every last ounce of blood, sweat, and tears right back to him. We need the Sami Zayn that refused to quit against Kevin Owens. We need that Sami Zayn back. We need the Sami Zayn that took Cesaro to the limit at NXT TakeOver Arrival. We need the Sami Zayn that put on a Match of the Year candidate with Pac. That's what we need. That's the Sami Zayn that we need. We do not need a Sami Zayn that runs away like a coward and dances around like a goof. We do not need a fucking Sami Zayn that is all about, there's a conspiracy theory against me. We do not need that. That version of Sami Zayn is fucking dog shit. We need the underdog of the underground, Sami Zayn, back. We need it back. That's the Sami Zayn that we need. Sami Zayn needs a complete character overhaul. For real. He needs a character fucking overhaul. And then we had the face-to-face confrontation with RK Bro, Drew McIntyre, and the Bloodline. They start acknowledging shit. So they acknowledge that Randy Orton has very vascular legs. He has muscly legs. Acknowledge. Riddle acknowledged that Randy Orton is his best friend. Acknowledge. Drew McIntyre acknowledged that I won the WWE title back from Randy Orton. Acknowledge. Yeah, I could acknowledge a lot of things. I could acknowledge that I am the greatest wrestling analyst on the face of the planet. Acknowledge. I could also acknowledge the fact that 99% of the IWC, outside of the people in this chat, are fucking retards. Acknowledge. I can acknowledge that I am the smartest man alive. Acknowledge. I can acknowledge that I am the most handsome man alive. Acknowledge. I can acknowledge that every single show that the WWE puts on, every single show regarding WWE's on-screen television product absolutely sucks horse meat cock. Acknowledge. I can acknowledge a lot of shit. I can acknowledge that SmackDown Live is the worst show on television. Acknowledge. I can acknowledge that no one can touch me. Acknowledge. And I run the fucking IWC. Fucking knowledge. So Drew called Roman Reigns the biggest piece of crap walking the earth. The Bloodline came out, and we get a brawl. Of course we got the brawl. What would it be without a brawl? The baby faces ended up standing tall, and that was it. That was your SmackDown. I don't care. I don't care. Who gives a fuck about SmackDown? Seriously, who gives a fuck about SmackDown? Anyway, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you for tuning into this video. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. And please make sure that you check out the rundown for WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2022. Adam Carl is my guest, and it's going to be a great time. Me and him, we're going to shit all over this piss poor card. And then on top of that, we do have an independent show tonight here in Morristown, New Jersey. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to see my man Crowbar versus former Ring of Honor World Television Champion Rhett Titus. Should be damn good. Can't wait to see it. I will be sure to take a vlog video for it. It's going to be damn good. I'm going to have a very fun time. Please make sure you check it all out on social media. Follow me on all the social media platforms. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep the chat alive. Share out the video everywhere. Make sure everyone knows DJ Storms is live on YouTube. You guys have been great. I greatly appreciate Raging Girl Gamer. I appreciate Lisa, DJ Sums, Danielle, Dee Dee, Adam Carl, Earl Cole, Hooligan. I appreciate y'all. And unfortunately, I must bid you adieu. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. I hope the weather is a lot nicer where you are than it is where I am, because it's absolute ass cheeks where I am. But regardless, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. I will catch you tomorrow for the rundown for WrestleMania Backlash. And remember, people, who runs the IWC? Who but DJ motherfucking Storms? And I will catch you tomorrow for the rundown. Adam Carl, your ass better be ready.